like to introduce Rod Genricks. Rod has been involved in conservation-related issues since the end of 1979, having started his working career after the army as a game ranger in Sabi Sands Game Reserve. Progressing from here, Rod became the youngest forestry manager in South Africa, being involved in all aspects of forestry from seed to sawmills. Designing and building his own speeding nursery, producing 80 million tree seedlings and 45 million vegetable seedlings into his own sawmills. Rod was invited by Mondi and H&H to lecture on their behalf to the final year students at Stellenbosch University on site soil species selection and land preparation systems. Rod was also involved in the design and manufacturing of the fastest de-stumping machine in the world, the Savannah high-speed low-impact road grader, the 6-wheel bell loader, mobile sugarcane nurseries, and tree seed planting machines, amongst others. Due to the problems with the water hyacinth problems in the Benoni Lakes area, Rod was approached by residents of the town to assist. His approach saw the problem resolved, and in doing so recognized the desperate need to assist with the remediation of the water. Rod was introduced to the ecotabs protocol and has embraced this as a viable working solution to problems facing our water today. There is a solution to our water. The lethargy displayed by our municipalities in certain areas is to destroy all form of aquatic life, while others are being proactive. Rod, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for the opportunity to address this forum. There's been some great talks here before me, and what have you. As John said, I literally wear 3 hats. I wear a forestry hat, I wear a wildlife conservation hat, and I've been very involved with the rhino poaching as well, having been involved in the training in the Kruger Park the last little while. I've also been now involved heavily with the water remediation, both here and forestry rehabilitation up in Ghana and all over South Africa. What we've done here, I mentioned here about effective microorganisms. Well, to us, it's on the program as an effective microorganism. To me, that's a swear word. We try to divorce ourselves from that as much as possible. We talk about bioremediation. We talk about the restoration of the phosphorus cycle. The phosphorus cycle in our dams and our rivers, and what's happening within our dams after doing the Benoni Lakes, which, as we all know, was a total disaster. 2.5 years of the hyacinth committee. It took me 4 weeks to disband the whole lot. We took over with Chris and Taveni and Paul Sinet's Sabi Game Ranger. We managed to sort it out. The first thing I did was I just blocked off the doors, blocked off entrance, blocked off any access, and we got stuck in and we did it. But from there, I just realized the amount of sewer water, our terrible state of our rivers and our dams, and the more I've gone into it over the last 3-4 years, the worse and the worse it's become. Until I got hold of the ecotabs protocol, which is basically set up by a team of 6 scientists, professors, and senior engineers operating out of the Woods Hill Oceanographic Institute in America. And basically they're the brains I just was talking. So what we do is that in order to get bioremediation going, is one's got to understand what you're dealing with. And in the phosphorus cycle, as we've got here, one's got to realize that there's the same life cycle that is in the Kruger National Park, from the ant to the elephant, with all the parameters of trees and things thrown into the mix, the same in our waters. And when we started off with the waters here in our rivers and our sewage works, we didn't have the numbers of people here, and the sewage used to flow into our rivers. There was a mix, maybe 10%, and the rest was water, natural water. Today, in many instances, we've got 30, 40, 50, 60, upwards % of sewage going into our rivers. And this is what's happening, is collapsing our total ecosystem within our rivers. I've been on 50-50 a couple of times, and some of you might have seen the results of the Harpies River, where we have 25 megalitres, that's 25 million litres of raw sewage a day going to that river. And a mix of, it must be about a 70% mix of sewage and only 30% water at some stages. I mean, it's crazy. The numbers are totally out of all control. I've been involved in the Telspruit spills. I've been involved in the Blue Dam. And I'm going to show you just a couple of slides and things that we're working on in terms of the bioremediation. Now, one must not get confused because there's every Tom, Dick and Harry has got a biological remediation protocol. Some of them, like the Bokashi balls at Bruma Lake, are a total disaster. I mean, you've seen the Serengeti, somebody went through 60,000 rand worth of stuff in. They said, what now? I said, well, it's not conclusive. It's maybe it's going to work, we don't know. The problem is that the mix and the matching of bioremediation bacteria or enzymes, a lot of guys got enzymes, we won't touch them, we don't go near them, we don't look at them, for the simple reason it's a limited lifespan and it's a singular attack. The difference between bacteria and enzymes is often confused, and to put it into perspective, basically a bacteria is like a bacteria is one, but an enzyme is basically like a mosquito landing on you and biting you. It'll put into his mutin and will suck your blood out. He puts in an enzyme. As the bacteria, as the mosquito makes the bacteria, which creates an enzyme, that is what he uses for that specific target. So we work with bacteria, and in understanding our water, we have got different water plumes. So at the bottom you've got an anaerobic situation, going down eventually up the aerobic situation at the top. And the difference is your oxygen levels, which creates those specific environments for this year to grow in. So we find, and in testing our dams and our rivers, we check the DO levels, which is our dissolved oxygens, and our turbidity as two, just to go in straightly. And then our nitrates, phosphates, and our suspended solids. We have a look at all of those in terms of our remediation program. Now, a dam should be around about between 3 and 4, the top number being 8. That is a healthy dam situation, between 3, even up to 4, 4.5. We find a lot of our dams are now running below 1. I'm doing a dam right now, which I'll show you. The dam, the dissolved oxygen is 0.5. 0.5. The dam's turbidity should be 11, 12, 15, somewhere around there, even a little bit higher. In many instances, we're now getting dams with a turbidity level of 122, 170, which means that when you put your finger into the dam, you can't see further than that with your finger now. So to bring that turbidity down, if we look at our drinking glass of water in front of us, should be 7. That's his acceptable drinking water. And I will go on now, I'll show you some of the work that we're doing. And this is the phosphorus cycle. What we've got to do is to take that, and in terms of maxing our bacteria, we've got to restore the phosphorus cycle. It's the natural cycle that the dams and rivers are self-sustaining. And because of the pollution we're putting in, we need to help nature remediate itself. So by doing what we're doing, we're taking samples, we're understanding, we're mixing bacteria, 16 bacteria, we're mixing, for example, nitrosomes, nitrobacters, which basically convert your ammonia into nitrite, then nitrate, and that can then be absorbed into a system. So all these protocols are coming in, and also we're putting in oxygen at the base of the dams. So we do that by compressing this into a tablet and dropping into the dam right to the base of the dam. That then effervesces and creates a very, very fine, pure oxygen, which allows the bacteria to thrive in at the same time with a buffer stabilizing pHs. We've worked with water, and I'll show you this now, where the water is so bad, the dam is so bad, that when you walk into it, it actually literally eats your shoes off your feet. You couldn't get close. And that is, I've got here to show you today, and I'll go through now, and we'll start going through these different protocols that we work with. And the power of nature to remediate nature is unbelievable. We have massive spends taking place at the moment. Very few of them are working. You've got billions being spent. On the Harpies River, there's 1.4 billion on that one sewage works. We do not have enough money to sustain the spend. But we do have enough money to help nature to remediate itself, the most powerful force we have. So we are working and have done, I think, 22 dams in the last 2 or 3 years that we've already remediated and cleaned, as well as many, many other areas that we're working. Our latest that we're working is we're working in Kuwait, and we're doing oil spills after the Iraqi war. So we're up there as well now doing oil spills up there. But let's just go on to some of these, and let me just show you where we're working. This is a blue dam, which featured on 50/50 as well. This is Max's Street. This is just near Witwatersrand University, but just below the Chinese flea market. Now this dam, when we got hold of it, in the 22nd of 4th, 2011, we have a situation here. It's all gone green. There's harties all by the sea. Birds all over the dam, dead. You can see the dam areas going black, and it wasn't good. We had a dissolved oxygen level here of less than 1. We started applying our products, spraying over the reeds, applying it here by shovel, and putting it into the water. You can see the black water. The water immediately started going brown. As the oxygen went down to the bottom, it infused into your organic substance, going into the cells, which creates it to lift. What this also does, by having that amount of oxygen there, it immediately neutralizes your toxic gases. So your smells, within 24 hours, we'd eliminated all the smells in that dam. The sludge, we'll just go back one here. The sludge, as you can see, started going as the sludge started lifting, and then of course the water testing. This is all done by independent people checking these waters, and there's the dam slowly starting to change. Into that dam as well with acid mine drainage, and we all know the effects of acid mine drainage. And there it comes in here, and you can see the red acid water flowing into that dam as well. We applied our product, we started oxygenating, and you can see the heavy metals and stuff settling out just after that. Within the next couple of days, we managed to settle all of those out of the water. From here, started on the 20th of the 4th, 2011, and by the 26th of the 7th, 3 months later, from black water to water that you can see 1.5 meters straight down to the bottom of the dam. There's that underneath the lilies, you can see right down, and a meter deep. We had brought the turbidity from 122 on this dam. We brought it to 3.7, which is 50% cleaner than drinking water. And that's how clean we got the dam, just through bioremediation and what we're doing with bioremediation. And that's in a very short space of dam, from a total collapsed dam, collapsed environment, and we rehabilitated that. Here we can actually see the charts. This is from Joburg Water, and that's what I was saying. There's your dissolved oxygen at 1, and there it is at 3.4 at the bottom. Sorry, 5.4. There was at 4.7. It's 3.4. So you can see we are right. We are way below. Sorry, that's your oxygen, 5.4. That's your dissolved oxygen at 5.4. Your maximum is 8. So we brought it from less than 1 to 5.4. Turbidity we brought to 3.7. There was it at 112 before we started. We brought to 3.7. Ammonia we actually totally eliminated. We had no problem. Nitrogen we got. E. coli levels in the Bloomer Lake, which I'll show you, which we also did. We tackled the Bloomer Lake. We brought the levels of E. coli in the Bloomer Lake from 25 million plus to 4,000 in 3 weeks. So we solved that. Here's the E. coli. It's now sitting at 730, 1,300, and it was sitting up here at 38,000 when we started. So we dropped the E. coli completely. So we're eliminating your E. coli, you're getting your dissolved oxygen and resolving this whole problem. Now this is a beautiful success story, filmed by 50/50. We had it on, everybody was as happy as anything, and then the inevitable happened. That's where it is right now. I start on Tuesday fixing this dam again. This is a total collapse. It's far worse than it ever was. This is a 3-month sewage spill. The barbel are actually walking out the water. They're dying on the banks. The birds everywhere. It's just a total ecological disaster. If you look here, the dissolved oxygen is now at 0.15. That's how bad it is. This is just down the road from us in the middle of Johannesburg. This is one of the dams today. As we stand here, this is where we are. So,
and all you're doing is throwing stuff in?
It's a lot more scientific than just throwing things in. You know, trust me, it's a little bit more difficult than that. Yeah. This is Alsberg. This is on also 20th of the 7th, 2012. It's just the other day. Eric Kaluni wastewater is responsible to clean up monitored by 50/50 after scheduled maintenance that resulted in raw spillage spilling into the dams. This was addressed immediately and a potential disaster avoided. Now, Yeah, we have Ericolunia. I've got them to be proactive now. I've got them to a point where if there's a disaster, they phone me and they're saying, Rod, listen, we've got this problem coming right away. I don't care whether it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday, it doesn't matter, just phone me. There's a situation here where this is over the hotel spray, and this pipe, which is a 900 mil pipe, all the sewage from the area goes down there, and this is the spill going out of here. This is raw sewage running into the wetlands, it's running into the rivers, dams, the whole lot, and this is how it's going. This is about 10 million litres a day going into this pipe. There's the spill, you can see the wetlands going, you can see the rivers. There were 3 rivers and dams which were totally affected. We immediately moved in, but the story was here is that the people around the dam did not know that Ericolunia had in fact were proactive in doing something. And they didn't know that I had in fact been in there and treated the dams. And they phoned 50-50 who'd came in with Z and Danae. And they'd gone in there to go and run the program. And once they'd done all the program and looked at all the worst case scenarios, they went to go and tackle Ericolunia, and Ericolunia gave it to me and said, please Rod, just tell them what's going on here. So I brought them out here, and they literally couldn't believe what had happened. This is where they filmed. That's what it was. That's all sewage everywhere. That's at 1.5 meters deep. You can see a beer can. It's absolutely spotless, the dam. So by the time we got it, we'd actually already managed to do it. The problem is when we're not being notified. The problem is like the Blue Dam, they wait until the spill's finished, everything's dead, and then they say, Rodney, please come now. It's too late. We can't do that. You know, it's just not, it just doesn't, it's not worth it. It's not, you're wasting your time. But at least we've got to get something going. I'm going to run through this quite quickly. This is where I was telling you a little bit earlier about acid mine drainage and some of the problems with acid and pure acid that's going into dams. And this here is a specific problem where we tackled, I'm just going to run through here. This is a dam, what it looked like. This is the water. That is pure acid. We talk about a pH less than 2. We're talking about, you can't get near it. The smell is just absolutely terrible. The pan is devoid of all aquatic life. As you see, 30 meters around it, there's not a living thing here. Absolutely nothing. Most vegetation within 20 meters of the pan is dead or dying. And so to try and, well, there's the soil in the ground, water's contaminated, sediment has a yellowish color. Bird life is non-existent. You don't see a bird near that. Access to the pan is impossible due to high sludge buildup. So we couldn't even get near. This is just some of the facts and feeds of what's on here. Here's again your pHs, your projected goals. You meter the pan through removal of the contaminants and results to stabilize the pH of the pan. That's what we were asked to do. In order to get near the water, we had to build a little bridge. We couldn't walk it. It was just chewing our shoes up. So to get there, we only got to one point. So what we did, we then brought in, we brought in the water sampling. This is Bureau Veritas, independent body. They came and checked it before we even started. We wanted that. They came and they couldn't get the boat on either. We then got a helicopter just to get near the water. So we then had to fly and collect water samples out the helicopter, keep the smells down, and use the flow just to get near. It was so bad. We then got in a hovercraft, and then got in a hovercraft to get over the sludge just to get onto the dam and start treating the dam, which is us now treating these waters, and got everything done. Those are all our treatment points, and we got the water and soil sampling periods, and as you can see, still absolutely stone dead around the whole area. Started on the 15th of September 2011 is when we started doing this dam. All you can see, the reduction of everything is just straight down, and I'll just run through these quickly. Your fluoride, your sulfate, all down within a month. Our pH, there's our pH, from being 2 to 5 within a month. We brought the pH. We stabilized that pH, we got it back. And so every single year is I'll just go through it all year. On the 15th of October, from the 15th of September, we had clean water. We actually stabilized the whole lot. And this is aerial view of it, and there it is afterwards. High turbidity, noxious objects before, crystallizing, crusting on the embankments, vegetation dead. Now we have low turbidity, no odors, highly oxygenated, level of sludge decreasing, crystallization and crusting of the embankments has been removed. Vegetation is still dead, but aquatic and insect life present, algae growth present. So that's sort of coming back. Again, aerial shot of the same dam. There's our 20-meter dam, dead vegetation, but 2 meters, 2 months later, that's what we had. All the vegetation growing back. We got the whole lot restabilized through biological means and helping nature to help itself. So these are just a couple of the dams that I can show you. Is it the next one? Again, what I'm dealing with right now, and we'll talk. Okay, that's all right. Do that one. That's fine. I'll just deal with that quickly. This is. This shows Trevor Schultz's ex-game ranger as well from Zambia, and he's got a little fishing dam right inside near Calvin Power Station, and he's got a little fishing setup. And he's had sewage and toxic spills into his dam, and we literally had to cart and burn off, but I'll show you now. This is a situation here. This is toxic water coming in, pure toxic poison coming into his dam, and where he goes. You can see his fish dying. You can see the toxic water, what his water looks like right now, and his raw sewage just running straight into his dam, just pouring down here. This is the toxic waste as it comes in, and it's foaming as it comes through the top, and foaming into his dam, literally killing everything. This is the fish that we caught out and we had to go and burn. Hundreds and hundreds of full-grown carp, koi, all sorts of fish that we actually carted and burnt up. This is coming from the Sunderland, from the development, and the raw sewage running down into his dam at the bottom. We started treating on the 7th and 3rd, 20th, 3rd, 13th, and this was us treating the dam as we went in. That's just over 3 weeks. This is where we were treating, same place. That's 3 weeks later. You could see right into the dam. The fish had gone. They were running around. They were just absolutely, there's so much activity around our lot. There's the dam. A little while later, the birds were back. They'd all been gone. All these birds are back. We've managed to totally rehabilitate it. That's a before and after shot of the same place again, of his dam. This dam is 30 meters deep. It's not unlike Artie's. In fact, it's exactly the same as Artie's. There's absolutely no reason or difference. And that is within 1 month, we turned the dam around. There's a letter from him just saying thank you for what I did for you. This is you've seen this one, right? Yeah. No, this is not. No. This is a current spill I'm also busy trying to deal with at the moment. Again, we're trying to get funding. I'm fighting with the municipality, just say, "Can't you guys just give us the funds, let us go in." No, we'll wait till the spill's finished before we go in. That's a typical situation. You can see the pipes bursting, you can see them running. This is raw sewage, this is running for weeks and weeks and weeks on end now. And it's going into the whole Natal Spruit, that whole area is affected. The birds dying, I mean, I walked up and down these things, I've got another one there. And as they're trying to repair it, and only once they've repaired it, the policy is that they don't fix it until they repair the pipe. I'm trying to say to you guys, when it happens, it's going to happen. Our infrastructure is all old. What they're doing is they're putting these big hydraulic rams in, running them down the pipes. The hydraulic ram from the water is cracking up our infrastructure, and we just got sewage running everywhere. So wherever we go, I've now had to go and employ another 4 or 5 people just to help me, just to get around, just Erically, never mind anywhere else, just to try and do this. Unfortunately, we're sitting with Tshwane. Tshwane's not interested. Absolutely, and Tshwane, if you look at the green dot data, Tshwane is the worst of all the provinces in the country almost, in the state of the rivers and waters, the Henops, the Yuxkay. I am in a situation where I've been asked by the Minister now and her representative, I spoke to her the other day, and we are busy trying to put a plan together in both directions. One of the problems I've just recently come across has been going on for 50 years. Nobody knew because they test their own water and they test their own samples. They're part of the bigger corporation. They are pumping water or pumping poison, and it will be on the TV. You've got the TV filming at the moment. But the water and the chemicals they're pumping directly into our rivers and streams are so toxic they're banned internationally. And this is not because of the new government. This has been going on for 50 years. And it's been hid behind the scenes by major corporations. I was last week and the week before being threatened by courts and lawyers and all sorts of bloody things because we forced them off site. And we stopped the application. On your MSDS, on the drums, it says there, extremely toxic to humans. Do not put it in sewage works. Do not let it into the rivers, streams, or oceans. It's in category 3 toxicity. Extremely hazardous. And yet they're pumping thousands of litres a week into our rivers. On one instance alone, I know about 140 odd different instances now that's been pumped into our rivers and our waterways. So we're tackling this at the moment. I'm tackling it. I'm working with whatever means I have at my disposal at the moment. But there's no use tackling something if you cannot offer an alternative. So we need to look at those alternatives. We need to look at products that are remediating, not masking. The reason why I don't believe in effective microorganisms, they do a masking operation, they're not doing a remediation operation. They run on the surface, and the Afrikaans have got a great saying, "Boer blink onder stink." And that's exactly what's happening. They're fixing the surface, and underneath it's a mess. Arties is a prime example. Petrus Fent has been running there for I don't know how long. He's been running his little weeds and everything like that. The surface is all fine, but underneath that is a mess. We've been pumping chlorine into our dams and our rivers for years and years and years. I'm doing everything I can to stop it at the moment. Chlorine collapsed the whole tobacco industry below Brits for one reason only, because of the chlorine content in the leaf, and yet our vegetables are all grown down there and shipped into us, and that's what we eat. But it's not good enough to grow tobacco, but it's good enough to grow veggies for us. I'm currently doing, and I don't know if you've got that, JC. I've done, for the last 3 years, we have been doing I've been doing a dam below Arties, right below the dam. There's a guy, JC Trading. This is Yanni and Yanni. They run a cucumber farm. He supplies cucumbers for Woolworths. They got the Woolworths contract. Now, this is the water that they're getting out of Arties. This is typical Arties water. And as we know, it all runs down the canal out of the dam and then runs down the length, and every 500 meters there's a little dam, irrigation dam in the farmers. And Yanni, he's a water engineer working on the reverse osmosis plant in Witbank. He's got everything in this place. He's got reverse osmosis plants. He's got filtration systems that you can only dream about. He's got, you name it, and his wife, Yanni, studied medicine, so she's a highly intelligent person who runs a nursery. And yet they had to close down because of the water. They could not get it right. He saw me on the 50-50 program, asked me to come in, and I immediately went in, and we dosed his dam. Now he gets fresh water from Arties every 2 weeks. So we only got a very, very small window to treat his water, but already his water, from what it was to this, we've got birds back, we've got fish in the ponds, and a whole lot. He's coming right. The 2 dams on either side of him, there's not a sign of life. And the same canal, fed from the same water. This is now 12 months later. There's each dams, water's still clean, and that's what the dams look like on both sides of it. And that's the power of bioremediation if it's done correctly and if it's understood correctly. So there's a scientific base for it. To understand the mixing of the different bacteria, for example, if you want to get rid of algae, there's bacteria that one uses to take the slimy layer off. We'll then penetrate that bacteria and we'll start digesting it, we will eat it up. And that will then have the next effect and the next ride-on effect with the whole lot. So it's a science, it's a high science. And like I say, I'm the messenger, I'm a simple man, but after 3 years, I suddenly realized how little I know. In fact, I know nothing. And what is great is that we do have a solution. There is a solution to this whole lot. And there's not such a thing as just taking a little bit of magic muti and throwing it in a dam. It doesn't work. You've got to get to the base. You've got to work in the base. You've got to work where the problems are. And these problems are solvable. In terms of the smell, that is solvable within 24 hours. 24 hours is our window. We can stop it. So it is there. It can be done. This is the cap I'm wearing at the moment. I've also got a cap, like I say, in forestry and wildlife as well. But this is where we are at the moment. And that's all. Thank you, man.